Who's greater, Usher or Chris Brown?
Usher.
Usher.
OG.
You know what? I
Usher.
said the same answer and actually thought about it. Chris Brown has been 10 times more consistent than Usher.
What?
I actually took a step back and thought about it.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like Chris Brown's music is fucking fire, but it never made me feel like when I was growing
That's
up.
because you can't dance.
Yo, so I just seen a video. It was a little podcast of some guys. You know, they were, they were bringing back the old classic debate. You know, Usher versus Chris Brown, and I understand why this can be a close debate. You know what I'm saying? It's a very close one. My personal opinion, let me get that out the way. I think Chris Brown has surpassed and has been surpassed Usher. But, a lot of people aren't trying to give that to him. They're not trying to give it to him. And I've noticed it's more so the older crowd. I'm 28. Those 30 and up, basically the 90s and under people, they refuse to give Chris Brown that dub. Why? I don't know. Like, why is it so hard? And what I've come to find out, especially from watching this podcast that I'm going to link in, or that I linked in, they seem to think that Chris Brown has no classics. Very false. Then they say, his music don't give you that, back in the day, back in the childhood feel. You know what that tells me? That we're arguing nostalgia, like I always say. Constantly arguing nostalgia. Anytime it's Michael Jackson, Usher, anybody else brought up against Chris Brown, the only thing you can do is argue nostalgia. That's all y'all got on him. That's it. You cannot beat the performance quality, the choreography in the videos, the music itself. You cannot argue consistency. You cannot argue none of that. All you got is nostalgia. And I can tell because, like I said, this is the older crowd. Those are 30 and up. When you listen to Chris Brown, he was new by the time y'all were in high school and up. He was a new artist. Usher had already been out, so obviously Usher's gonna bring you back to when you were younger. It's gonna give you that nostalgia because he was out when you were younger. For me, he was out when I was younger. So Chris Brown gives me nostalgia. But I don't argue nostalgia when it comes to Chris Brown. I argue actual skill, talent, the stats that come up about how great he does and all the accolades that he has gotten, despite being blackballed. I know we getting tired of hearing that being brought up, but that's a huge factor. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. We need to let this go and acknowledge the king of pop right now. I don't even want to give him that name. I want to give him the king of music, the greatest artist of all time as of right now. Chris Brown, undeniable. Argue with your mama. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.